There's a whole family of techniques that involve using some kind of material, a rag or newspaper or burlap or all sorts of things to either apply like we did with the sea sponge or to remove. So we're either ragging on by using the rag to apply some paint like I'll do right now, or you can use a clean dry rag to suck off a glaze there to remove paint off of the surface. So you see I've got this rag pretty well covered here, and I'm going to use it to kind of roll around on the surface. I'm going to change the direction of the stamp that I'm using constantly, just like with that sea sponge. You know, it's real easy to start creating a shape over and over again, a pattern that you don't intend. You can take this up and use it like a rolling pin, kind of twist it around and roll it around this way. I need to get some more paint on my rag here, it's drying out fast. You can even get special roller covers that allow you to do this really quickly. I really like those because they can move a lot of texture really fast. This is kind of giving it a nice little directional action going on here. Same thing that you can get from that rag roller. Using that rag roller in lots of different directions can build up something that looks like you know, stucco, old plaster walls, all that sort of thing quite easily. So that's sort of the notion of ragging on, using it very much like a stamp, very similar to how you would use a sea sponge to apply some interesting textures. And again, you can keep going, you can add more than one color to this, and all sorts of different textures are happening just as I keep on working on this. I'm going to set that one aside for a little bit, slide over to a new area, and I'm going to apply a glaze right over this white paint, and then use a clean, this is just an old t-shirt towel, to pull the paint away. And you see it gets a different kind of effect by ragging off. And again, how thick your paint is, how long it's been there, you can let it tack up a little bit, that's going to give you a different effect. But look at this really kind of ancient plaster wall thing that we've got going on just by pulling up some of that glaze. All that sort of brushy mark that we had there a moment ago is gone, and we've got this really interesting, like, ancient plaster wall. Another one that's sort of variant to that is called frottage, and that's by using some sort of absorbent material to press into a glaze. So I'm just going to throw down a little bit of glaze. I'm just taking a crumpled paper towel here, not a kitchen towel, but, you know, kind of industrial towel. I'm just going to drop this sort of gently into the glaze. I'm going to be careful not to use my hand too hard to press down onto the paper because I don't want to leave a big old handprint in there. But this is super easy for low skilled labor to do. You can just kind of, obviously you want bigger pieces than this. This is just a little sample piece. You leave that sit there for just a second, and then when you peel it back, again you get sort of this interesting pattern. How the different kinds of material, newspapers, or much more absorbent paper towels or different kinds of materials, just pressing it into the surface. There's even some fingerprints there. I'm getting a little carried away, but be careful with those and nobody will see them. But you get some really interesting patterns that come from just pressing newspaper or paper towel or something, craft paper even, anything that's kind of absorbent into a glaze, letting it sit there. Of course, you got to crumple it up first and then unfold it to get all this sort of neat pattern in the paper. And then again, any place that looks a little, doesn't quite look the way you want, then you just switch over to your rag off action with the same piece of paper towel here and just soften up any areas that are a little too dark still, very quickly building up some complicated textures. It's kind of hard to do something like that as easily as this with any other technique. So all of these textures, all of these techniques can come from a very simple, very low-tech way with some rags and paper towels, no expensive tools or anything needed to get some neat effects. So give those a try.